that didn't exactly work out the way that you thought they would or hoped that they would. Let me tell you about a little circumstance that happened to me back in the day. I was a student minister at a church in Charleston. I had just received the call to come on staff there and be this church's youth minister, and one of the first things that I did was plan a retreat. And the church had a retreat center there just outside of Charleston, and we planned this big retreat. It was in the fall, and we had a ton of young people who were going to come and participate in this retreat. And I thought, well, what's something unexpected that I could plan for this retreat that would just kind of stir things up a little bit and create some fun? So I came up with this crazy idea, and it was crazy, to ambush the students. And the way that we were going to do this was we were going to have a big opening session that night at the retreat center and have a big worship service and all this stuff. And afterwards, I was going to lead the kids outside and tell them we were going to play a game outside. And we were going to go out into a clearing back behind the retreat center. And I was going to have the adults, the parents of all these students, ambush the kids with super soakers. So I set about my plan. I called parents. I sent out a letter to parents. Now, this was my crucial mistake. I sent out a letter to these parents, and I detailed my plan. And I was going to lead these kids out there, and I had all kind of parents on board. They were excited. They thought this was going to be hilarious. We're going to catch these kids, and we're going to just soak them with these water guns, and they're never going to expect their parents to jump out of the woods and ambush them with water guns and all these things. And so little did I know that as a part of this process, when I sent out a letter of all the dumb things to do to parents, one of my high school seniors intercepted a letter before it got to his parents. And I can only imagine the look on this young man's face when he read this letter from his new youth minister detailing an ambush plan in which the youth would be led out into a clearing at night after a worship service and calling on parents to jump out from the trees with water guns and soak the kids. Well, he took the matter into his own hands. I had no idea that he was in on this or that had any idea. And he organized a resistance force, little to my knowledge. And so the plan went on as I had crafted. The worship service ended, told the kids, we'll take you guys outside and we're going to play a night game out in this clearing out here. And so the kids are going back here. I'm the only leader with a flashlight, and I'm leading the kids out back into this clearing. And at the appointed time, when I had them out in the middle of the clearing, I was to give a signal, and all the parents were going to jump out of the trees with water guns, and they were going to just soak these kids. So we get out in the clearing, and I give the signal, and all of a sudden, all of these parents converge on this group of students out of the trees wearing camouflage and face paint with super soakers, wetting these kids like you wouldn't believe. There's screams taking place. And I start to notice that the parents aren't the only ones who are armed. These kids had brought super soakers themselves, had brought water guns themselves in backpacks that they were carrying. But the one boy who had intercepted the letter had brought a special response for me. He had brought his paintball gun. And so this kid out of his backpack pulls a paintball gun loaded, and it had my name on it. And so I'm looking around and thinking how awesome this is, that parents are getting these kids and the kids are fighting back, and I'm laughing, and I'm totally surprised by the fact that they were prepared for this ambush. And then I feel it. Pap! I'm starting getting hit in the chest and the back with paintballs at point blank range. And I'm looking down, and there's like paint on me, and it was yellow paint. Thankfully it wasn't red paint, or might have thought I was actually getting shot. You know, and I'm starting to turn from laughter to you know, I'm yelling, who's shooting me? You know, it was crazy. But when the dust settled, we all had a great laugh, and the parents enjoyed it, and the kids had a ball because it was a big adventure. But that plan did not work out anything like I expected it to. God was good, and it turned out to be a fun turn of events and not a tragic turn of events, other than the fact that I had some bruises from the paintball gun. But a lesson that I reflect on as I think about that story is the fact that we all make plans in life, and our plans don't always work out exactly like we expect them to. Sometimes they're salvageable. Sometimes our plans don't work out like we think they will, but they still work out. Sometimes we make plans, and the way that events don't turn out anything even remotely resembling what we had hoped that they would. And so what do you do in those circumstances? The scriptures tell us that our God is a God who redeems, who rebuilds, and who resurrects lives and circumstances. And I believe that when we make plans in life that don't work out like we hope they would, perhaps that's where you are in life right now. Perhaps today, even as you watch this video devotional, something has worked out in your life in a way that you did not plan for it to, and you're dealing with it. Know that you can turn to God. Know that where man's plans fail, God's plans endure forever. And if you give your heart to Him, if you give your life to Him, if you yield your will to His will and trust Him with your life, then His plans will endure. And the scriptures say that our God has good plans for us, plans to prosper us and not to harm us. But the scriptures say that we must seek Him with all our heart if we're to find Him, and we will. He will be there for us, and He'll redeem and He'll restore what this world has broken in terms of the plans that we might have had in our hearts. Hope that's a message of encouragement for you today.